Are you going to use the other water? I'm not. Peace, peace, peace. Peace, love. Black Power family. Give me just a moment here. As you can see. All right. I am waiting for Keon family. Okay. I want to make sure that our chat is up and running. I was going to wrap my hair up today, but I chose to let them out today. Let's see. All right, that's that. Let's see where everyone is. Oh, here we go.
Hello. How you doing, Showers?
I'm good. How you doing?
Great, Showers. I'm happy to be here with you.
True. That's a good look.
You know, I'm happy to be here with you. I'm honored.
Hey, I ain't mad at you.
I'm great.
How was the day?
It's been good. You know, it's slow motion on Monday a little bit, you know, but you know, slow motion better than no motion. You know, we're just gonna keep coasting. How about yours?
It's been pretty busy today.
That
I ain't
sounds like a
complaining.
good Monday.
Yeah, you know, Mondays seem to be my busiest and longest days of the week now.
I'm trying to get like you. I need my Mondays to be big. I was asleep a lot of the day. I had to catch up from the weekend.
Oh, you had a nice weekend, huh?
It was a long weekend. Well, you know, I was, you know, nose to the grind, nose to the grind. You know, got things to do.
I can dig that. I can dig that.
It's fine.
I can dig that. It's another Monday yet again.
You know, we're back here. How fortunate are we?
I think we're blessed and highly favored.
Man, we here. You know?
Oh, I get out of Facebook jail tomorrow. Ow.
I am proud of you. You done your time. I am proud of you. You know, you did that like it was nothing, you know.
For real.
You done your time like a soldier. You know? I gotta admit that I've never been to Facebook jail. What is it like?
You know, it's different, you know, because, you know, I kind of it was good, you know. I won't complain, you know what I'm saying, because I was able to establish and get more active on my business page, which I have to keep up with once I come back, because the separation is good. It's necessary.
Did you have any separation anxiety from the people?
Maybe a little bit,
You miss the
because
people?
everything I want to discuss. Like, I did a few videos that I'm probably upload once I get back, of things that I wanted to talk about, but I chose, some things aren't really ready for my business page. So, you know,
They're gonna shut you down.
I got it. It's a thin line. So I'm trying to, walk the tight and narrow.
Well, that's why I'm here. I gotta keep you straight. Somebody gotta get you straight. Showers, You like to
Well,
act up. You like to act up a little bit.
Who?
You, just a little bit.
I don't think so.
Don't be saying, I'm just saying, though, you are in Facebook jail. You was acting up somewhere. I wasn't there that day, but you obviously was acting up somewhere. That's all I'm just saying. I don't know what you did, but you did something, child. That's all I'm saying.
I didn't do anything. I just said things. I said things that people didn't want to hear. And that's a personal problem.
That definitely that could be something. I remember back in the day, long time ago, I caught a felony charge. It was a federal felony charge. And see, first thing when I walked in my lawyer's office, first thing he said is, everybody who come in here say they didn't do it. Everybody who come in there, so you
Oh, I see where you going.
I'm just saying, I ain't trying to say nothing. I was just putting that out there. It just reminded me of the story. That's all. Long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
How's everybody out there? How's everyone out there in the world? What's going on, everyone? I'm happy to be here with you.
Aw, aren't you sweet today?
I'm on one today, Showers. I feel the love. I feel the love. Even on a rainy day, I feel better when I'm rested.
I can tell. You got some rest today.
I was just saying, I feel pretty good.
That's good. That's good. Well, you should be ready for our topic today.
It depends on what it is.
We're talking about, Black people who practice self-hate. Who don't like Black people,
or when I'm feeling good. Just when I'm feeling good.
Or is it that, the question is, Black people, is it true or false that Black people hating each other is the reason why we can't unite? Because the difference between us and other people is that, they don't allow, secondary beliefs to stop from the bigger picture, right?
Yeah.
And as much as as much as white people might not get along, right? They get along for the bigger picture. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot, and it seems like Black people can't find the code, can't write the code, can't stay on code. I don't know, but we always seem to have a problem with actually physically building and working together because of other beliefs. Some people don't want to work with Muslims, and other people don't want to work with Hebrew Israelites, and other people don't want to work, and so I think that presents a problem because that's a secondary belief. It shouldn't come before being African in no way, shape, or form, at least not in my opinion. I feel like, some things we need to keep at home, and everything isn't meant to bring to the table when we're trying to talk about uniting us as a people. When we were doing some of our prep, we were talking about, how we'll be talking about, let's say a police incident happened, and then, you have some Negroes that come on and want to talk about, what about Black on Black crime? Do you think that that's a form of hate?
You mean the question of what about Black on Black crime?
Right, when we're addressing one issue at hand, which is definitely two different dynamics, the police and Black people, right? When we bring those kind of discussions up, you know, a lot of times people use that as a way of rebuttaling the real issue at hand at that time. You know, is that I find that to be rather I'm trying to think of what's the best word for it. Not necessary for sure. I don't think that that's the time and place to talk about it. I'm not saying that we shouldn't talk about it, because I have some serious issues with it as well. I have serious issues with, and I think that goes back to us hating each other and not being able to get along, because you could attack me, you could fight me, but the same person that may have killed your child, you have all sympathy in the world for. Or when people show up in your neighborhood that don't belong there, you don't do anything to rectify that issue at all. You'll bang on me but won't bang on the beast.
Okay.
I mean, what are your thoughts?
That's a lot to unpack right there. That's a lot to unpack.
I think
right there.
I was just about to
that's
say
pretty
that.
heavy. You caught me on the right day for this one. I'm feeling good. We're gonna go and jump into this one. All right. Let me kick back for a second. So, to answer your question, do I think it's a form of self-hate? Asking that question, I don't necessarily think it's a form of self-hate. I do believe you're right when you say that it may be brought up at the wrong time, but I don't necessarily think it is a form of self-hate. I think it has some legitimacy within the question. However, I do believe it is used as a cowardice way to escape the subject at hand, which is what you're talking about at the particular time, which may be unnecessary killing from an outside source, right? So, as opposed to me addressing the unnecessary killing from the outside source, I deviate and I go into this particular subject matter, which I ain't been discussing the whole motherfucking time. We've been talking, anytime we sit down and talk, I ain't talking about black on black crime, but I conveniently bring this shit up when we're talking about the outside crimes that may take place towards my people, right? So
Right.
from that aspect, I understand exactly where you're coming from, because if that ain't nothing that's on your plate in the first place, why are you bringing it up now? You understand what I'm saying? Now, if this is something that bothers you, all the time, and this is irking you, and then, that's the forefront of your conversation, at that point, I might see it a little bit different. But if I know I done sat down and had 1,000 conversations with you, you ain't never mentioned no damn black on black crime, and all of a sudden when I bring up this damn murder that took place that may have been unnecessary, all of a sudden that's the forefront of your conversation. So in that particular case, yes, I do believe that's a cowardice way of deviating from it. Now, I more so believe that it's a legitimate question, because, see, somebody from the outside trying to mistreat me, that's one thing. But if you mistreat me, that's going to hurt 3-4 times worse, because you're not supposed to do that shit. So to me, it's worse. You understand what I'm saying? When you talk about the genocidal aspect of society and what my people do. Because if you look at the numbers, the self-hate leads to more mortality than, the numbers that show the other side. Now, one argument may be, well, they're hired to serve and protect. And they are hired to serve and protect. The question is, are they hired to serve and protect you?
Well, we know the answer. I mean, we do.
So if
Of
their
course
job
not.
is to serve and protect somebody outside of you, then the expectation for you to be the priority when it comes to the serve and protect, we already know it's a pecking order when it comes to the damn serve and protect. You understand what I'm saying? Like, when I say pecking order, what I'm saying is, okay, if me and you at the Walmart, and if me and you as a couple, we at the Walmart, and we happen to get into it with some white couple, we at a disadvantage as soon as the police pull up. You understand what I'm saying? We're at a disadvantage now. Okay, take this same officer. Now, me and you into it. This same officer come, I'm at a disadvantage. You understand what I'm saying?
I think we both at a disadvantage, but I get the point that you're trying to make.
Not in that situation, because at the end of the day, again, it's a pecking order. So if if they coming with me being a black male, I'm a bigger threat in the situation. You understand what I'm saying? So they look at, you
I
know what I
agree.
mean? So from the aspect, when I say pecking order, I'm not saying they're not coming with no animosity towards you. But in that bowl of animosity, it might be 25% towards you, 75 towards me. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, I get it, but we both going to jail if we
We,
causing a disturbance.
we
If it's a yeah, we both going.
Oh well, see, I didn't know that. You know what I mean? I have never been in a situation to where it got that deep to where arrest took place. I've been close, but I've never been in a situation like that, so I don't know what they will do. But I do know, in most cases, like I'm gonna be looked at as the bigger threat in the situation. You understand what I'm saying? So,
I know
with,
that in Florida, well, I think it's a little bit different here in Georgia, but in Florida, if it's a domestic violence call, somebody calls because you and her are fighting, and they get there, and it's between the two. Both of y'all are a disturbance, and both of y'all are going to jail. It's not. It's very, unless there's some type of damage or there's some type of, evidence to show that you were, But otherwise, both of y'all going to jail. That's
okay,
how. That's how it's done in Florida. Anyway,
okay, okay,
and Florida is a beast of its own. The police are totally type. Have a totally different culture. I truly believe than many other places. I would compare them to Texas, when it comes to the hate of black people. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, I've heard a few stories about Florida since social media. Social media has, put some things to the forefront. And Florida do got some unusual stories sometimes, when it comes to, but at the end of the day, it's the same land. So what can happen in Florida can happen in California, can happen in New York, can happen in Cleveland, can happen in Texas, can happen in Arizona. You understand what I'm saying?
Right, right.
Hey, look like we got a visitor. We got a guest. How are you?
I'm good, and you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for joining us. Nice to meet you.
Absolutely.
Definitely,
Absolutely.
definitely.
Peace,
Oh
sis. How
man.
you doing today?
Peace. Good, and you? What's going on?
I am well. I'm well. We was just getting the conversation started.
Okay.
It's still sunny over there, huh?
Yes. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Where you at?
I'm in Texas, far
Oh man,
west.
y'all still got the sun out. It's dark around these parts.
Yeah, we still sunlight. It's only 7:20.
Oh man, it's love right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's
we
what.
got a brother coming on shortly that's in California. So I know he it's the
Oh
middle of the
man,
day.
he
It's
fun in
like
the
6 o'clock.
sun. He fun in the sun.
Indeed. Indeed.
Well, thank you for
Wow.
joining us.
Definitely,
Absolutely.
definitely. On the
So
Absolutely.
hangout.
what we were talking about, the topic of today is, basically self-hate, the hate that us as black people and I won't even say collectively, because I don't think that we operate collectively at all. And
Right.
I think that's also a big problem. I think that I'll say by majority, the despise and the hate that we have toward each other is becoming bigger and bigger. It's not getting any better, in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion. I mean, what are your thoughts on it when you just the initial thought of the topic? One, are we unable to get along? Peace, Joey. Are we
What's going on,
unable
man?
to get
What's up?
along um, because of the hate that we have for each other?
That's a good question. If I go by social media, I would say we are in trouble. Um, yeah, we are in some serious trouble because the hate is real. But if I go by, day to day life, I would say you can see how it exists. I wouldn't say it's hatred. I think it's more of people. I don't know. It's like they're afraid to be black. I don't know if that makes any sense. It's like a fear more than a hatred. Um, and so I guess I can understand that, kind of, sort of.
Right.
And it don't matter. I'm parking here anyway. Sorry. I'm making my parking spot.
We know you want to run. Trust me, we do know.
Look, that's what I'm doing today. That's how this is going to happen. Okay. I'm pretend I'm being just like everybody else for a change. But, you know, it bothers me because I see more of a desire to assimilate. Um, and let's just be Americans. And I wonder if the foundation is hatred of being black.
Right.
And then it almost comes out like it's a fear of being black. So I'm kind of on the
Right.
fence. Um,
Right.
and just talking to people my age, because I'm a little older. I'm not gonna say a lot. Um, and it's just weird. It's a mix.
Right.
I do a lot of work with the youth, and when I say youth, I'm talking anywhere from 15 to 25.
Okay.
And they're on the fence as well because they're taking cues off of us.
Right.
They know me. I'm a revolutionary. Black Power. You know that's the best color on the planet. Our people first. And so they like that, but they've never really experienced that because they live in a very
Right.
neutral household where everybody loves everybody, you know? Um,
Right.
and granted, I've taught my children how to respect people and love everybody, however, but black first.
Right. Right.
So, but I think, I don't know, it's a combination of fear and a combination of hatred. I think it would be a healthy mix of both.
I think I definitely agree with you, and in the relation of being, being afraid to be black at this, especially in the element and the temperature that we are in society, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it seems like we're still struggling and we're still fighting just for the very basic respect overall. However, we're not giving it to each other, and I think that's a problem as well. Let's welcome Joe in. Hey, brother, how are you?
What's going on?
What's going
Hello,
on, Joe?
everyone.
How
Hello, hello.
how is it in
Hello.
California?
Well, here in Lower California, it's cool. I have a friend I was just talking to, that's in the Bay. She said it started raining this afternoon, so it's sunny here. It's a little rainy on the other side though. So
So we're going to bring you in and get your thoughts on the immediate topic that we're talking about. We're talking about black, us being unable to unite because of the hatred that seems to appear that we have for each other. We just can't seem to get along to get along. We even if we were to form something together, or if we were to start building something together, then secondary beliefs are a lot of the times, someone is a Muslim, or if someone is a Hebrew Israelite, or a Moor, the conflict comes into their belief and not the bigger picture of working together. Why do you feel that, or how do you feel about, the, do you feel that black people hate each other? I guess.
um yes and no. We have been taught to hate each other for a specific reason. It is to white people's best interest for us to hate each other. Um, that is the way that the world will stay the way it is. Black, what is? I'm gonna mess up his book, Dr. Claude Anderson. Black, what is it? Black Power, White Wealth, or White Power, Black Wealth, whichever one it is. I can't remember the name of it, but I mean that basically means what's going on. In order for the world to continue the way that it is, it has to keep black people at a subservient level because we are the engine with the book, The Little Engine That Could, is basically about us because no matter what, they have to keep us going. Even if you give us a couple of lumps of coal just to keep us chugging, that's what they're going to do because we keep everybody going. If it wasn't for black people, Asians wouldn't be able to go into what we used to call black communities and set up businesses, take the money back to their communities, and keep their kids in private schools. There was I guess a letter. It's kind of like the Willie Lynch letter, sort of, but by an Asian man supposedly that wrote it. Basically, the crux of the letter was thanking black people for being. I'm paraphrasing, obviously, but being as ignorant as we are economically. Um, in order for them to keep their businesses going, in order for them to keep their kids in private schools, in order for them to keep everything going. I live here in LA, and if you go, you can Google it from Central Avenue in LA all the way down to the I'm having a brain fart. From Central Avenue all the way up to City Hall. You have
Right.
little Saigon, little Taiwan, little Japan, little this, little that, but there's no little Africa. Black people
Right.
tried in the Crenshaw district years ago to get it to be named Little Africa, but they said no. The main reason they said no is because for the most part, the businesses that were there weren't owned by black people. They were just tenants.
Wow.
So you can't name something, but you can't give something a name that you don't own. And we were just
Right.
tenants. Yeah, you might have had a business there 20, 30, 40 years, but you never bought the property. Now, why do, like I might be redundant, but why is it in other people's best interest and why is it not being called economic racism? Because they don't want you to know the game. I mean, we are the ones that everybody turns to and says, "Oh, well, we have to help black people because this and that." Well, a couple years, what was it, a year ago or so, they had Asians for Black Power or Asians for Black Lives Matter or whatever. It wasn't because they cared about us. It's because we are they pocketbooks. We
Right.
are the ones that feed them. Because they do business with each other, but they do business with each other with black money because you can't name a black town center. I'm from Watts, and in my neighborhood, in my old neighborhood where my mama still live, I went there like a week ago because I go to Compton to get a haircut, take my sons to Compton, and then we go see my mama before we go home. And it looks basically the same except for it's all Hispanic mostly now, but the businesses are damn near the same, mostly Hispanic, mostly Asian or Jewish or white or something like that. Hardly no black businesses. They have no black people working in there because they don't want to give us a job, but they want our money.
Right.
And so I might have got off topic, but why do we hate each other? It's to their economic advantage for us to hate each other. Do you really think that if theoretically lions and tigers and cheetahs, if they got together, and I know they're in different geographic areas, but if they all ran Africa, do you think that would be to the advantage of gazelles and zebras and elephants? No, that would be a detriment to them. Same thing with white people. If white people, Asians, Hispanics, and everybody else figured out that black people were actually working together, there would be game over. That's one reason why we will never get a thing called reparations because they are scared that black people are playing stupid. It's one thing to be stupid; it's another thing to play stupid. If
Right.
they think we are playing stupid, if we are playing stupid, and they give us a check, and we turn around and create a Black Wall Street and cut them out economically, they got a problem. So just to keep the problem from even happening, they don't want to give us nothing. So I mean, self hatred is not really self hatred. It's basically a tool used by white people to keep us where we are. And what's funny is I just saw on Audible The Willie Lynch letter that you can download on Audible. I said, "Oh my God, this is funny." Because for years, obviously, nobody ever saw it, and then now it's like it's on Audible, like it's like it's just a normal thing, but they hide stuff in plain sight and most of us are not going to read. So even though it's an audio book, which is really a kick in the face, but that's just my opinion, if it makes any sense.
I think it definitely makes sense. And, because, I think that it has been, I totally get it. And I am in total agreement with it. It's at what point do we as a people, especially in my age group, Generation X, when is it that we get to a point where we are able to purchase land? Why wasn't that done? You know what I'm saying? And so I think that's a problem in itself. It, just like you said, and in the book that you're talking about is Black Labor, White Wealth, by
There you
Dr.
go.
Claude.
I had the name wrong.
But that is reality, because what's happening is they have gained wealth from our labor. You know what I'm saying? And they have been able to take that at the same time. And I'm trying to, and they have at the same time, use certain things, in order to do so. So how do we, I'm not even sure. What do you think, Keon? I'm a little lost for words.
In terms of our current state, it's to me it's very simple. Like when you're talking about accumulating wealth, because what you're talking about when you're talking about buying land is accumulating wealth. As a man, what us as black men need first and foremost is her, meaning you guys. You understand what I'm saying? That's that's the biggest divide and conquer in our entire situation is me versus you. So with that dynamic being the case, that stresses out every resource that we have as a people. That keeps us so divided in terms of the mental stress and the anguish that comes along with that. That discombobulates us. And I'm talking about men and women to the point where you can't even focus on doing things as great as buying land. You understand what I'm saying? Because we at each other's throat about the pettiest things. So I think once we bring that together, I think I would say about 70% of what we go through will be healed. Because with that being, with that comes along a whole lot of cohesion that we've been missing for a mighty long time.
Right.
You understand,
brother? That dude.
I think that's the first thing that needs to happen.
That is, I like that. I was going to say that, but I got so much going through my head. My brain is fried today. I just had to take my criminal law final, so I'm fried at the moment.
Oh, yeah, I can definitely understand that.
I'm burnt. I'm burnt on both ends right now. But that is, I was gonna say that's the the one of the biggest problems that we have. If you look at the media today, you can, with few exceptions, you can not find or see a TV commercial or a movie or a magazine or something like that where they have two black people together. It's mainly a black woman with an other. I saw a Lowe's commercial where a black woman was walking through the Lowe's store looking at looking at refrigerators and stuff like that with a white man. I saw another commercial where I forget what it was. It was a black woman with an Asian man. I mean, you rarely see a black man with a black woman in these commercials, but you always see white men with white women. You always, they do it subtly with other races, but we're not really concerned about them because they have their own issues that they need to work out. But with us, they do it on purpose. I was just trying to read an article about Black China and Rob Kardashian saying that he don't have to pay her child support no more. I don't know the whole particulars behind it. Really, that's not our problem because once you sell out, you can stay out. But
right, hey.
But the thing is, these are things that are afforded to white men that are not afforded to black men because they'll chase you down, take your license, put you in jail for not paying child support. I don't know how this white man got out of paying child support. I think somebody posted they gonna do 50-50 custody. Even with 50-50 custody, you still have to pay child support. When my daughter was a minor, I had basically 50-50 custody with her mother, and I still had to pay her child support. So I'm like, how the hell he get out of it? But he got white privilege. So it's probably some other stuff that's behind it why he don't have to pay, you know? But, the reconnection between of the black man and black woman is something I always talk about, even though I talk a bunch of shit and post a bunch of craziness on Facebook or whatever. But I do that because I call it fire for effect. Because you can't get everybody if you hitting people all day with black power, black power, black power, you're gonna burn them out. So you throw some bullshit out there to get them to pay attention, and then you hit them again. So that's basically what I try to do. And April will tell you, I try. My main objective is to reconnect the black man and black woman, to have more black children, to create a black society. Now you're saying buying land. That is one thing that they want to keep us out of, because land affords you a lot of different things, because you can build equity, you can build other properties, you can use that property to get equity to buy other properties and things like that. Um, Me being a veteran, I was afforded the opportunity. Well, not really afforded. I earned the opportunity to have a VA loan, so I could buy a house, because rent and a mortgage were damn near the same. So here in LA anyway. So I quote unquote own a piece of land. When I can build up enough equity, then I'm plan is to take some money out and buy another piece of property. Now, if we had more black people doing this, we could control our own destiny. But because we are renters, going back to the Crenshaw district thing, if we are renters, we have no power. And that's why if you look at Inglewood, they just got ran over by the NFL. Two NFL teams about to disenfranchise and gentrify the whole area. Inglewood, South Central, all that. They're about to take all of that over because black people didn't want to live there. They sold their houses to Hispanics. Now it's mostly Hispanic. And then the Hispanics is going to get pushed out because they just placeholders for the white folks. So if black people don't wake up and see what's going on, we're going to be we're going to be in fifth position as far as race is concerned. And fifth position don't get you no attention. They just dangling this carrot called reparations at us just to get us
Right.
to, pay attention to what's going on. Donald Trump's a bad man. He's evil. He don't like nobody. But every time he turn around, he trying to outdo Obama. So he trying to do stuff for black folks in a way. Even if he's making fun of the situation, he's still trying to do stuff. He's giving money to HBCUs. He's trying to set up these little different things and stuff like that for black people. And he is racist, but hell, the Klan used to give out turkeys during Thanksgiving, but then that day after they kill you. But that's beside the point. They still fed you before they killed you. So we need to take the turkey and run. So they're giving us hundreds of millions of dollars. We need, but the other problem that we have besides the family, we need real leadership. That's one problem we don't have. Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, Tariq Nasheed, the Voice, the Black Authority, all of these people do not have black people's best interest at heart, because they have another agenda. They want to be the focal point of the situation. They want to be, if my way or the highway. I'll give you a quick example and I'll shut up. Talking about Tariq Nasheed. Now, April, I started my website, Our Time Now, in 2012. A couple of my friends went on Tariq Nasheed's show. I think it was like 2014 or something like that, because he was talking about we need to have our own black website and stuff like that, because he was having some problems with Facebook or something. And they kept on saying, hey, go to this site, go to this site, go to this site. He goes to the site, signs up, never says nothing. Gets back on his show. Yeah, we need to start a black site because, we can't have nothing janky and raggedy and blah, 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 blah. We need to do this for black people and whatever. He starts I won't say GoFundMe, it's the other one. I forget the name of it. It's another site where you can get money. He starts
The
that.
black one.
No, not the black one. It's another white site. I can't remember. It's not. It's like GoFundMe, but it's another name. It's another site. He got like
Indigo.
seven. No, not that one. It might have been. Yeah, Indigo. Yeah, he got like $70,000 for a website from people. $70,000, and and the site he started is only on Apple. But he was sitting there talking about we can't have nothing janky, we can't have nothing, raggedy. We kind of do this and do that, and I'm like, it don't cost $70,000 to create no damn website. What the fuck was he doing? But he jacked these people for their money. But
Right.
I say this because these are the kind of leaders that we don't need. Even Dr. Claude Anderson said when he got on the Hidden Colors movie, we only paid him a couple $100. This man made all this money from these movies using other people's scholarship and knowledge to benefit himself. And then he doesn't put any of the money into the community because I'm like, where are the Tariq Nasheed businesses? Where is this? Where is that? Where's the Ice Cube businesses? All these black people that we hold up as leaders, they aren't doing anything to help us. So we need to divest ourselves from these people. Like, look, you've been around, Ice Cube. You've been around for 30 years. Where's the Ice Cube business? Oh, you don't have one? Okay, we're going to stop giving you support. Goodbye. Next, we need to start doing that, taking these people down, and then we need to create our own homegrown leaders that are not on a financial agenda. If that makes any sense.
I think that kind of, goes back to what Sister K was saying, that, I when I think of being deceived and when I think of being used, the first person that comes to my mind is Polite, and how he played on black people, but we allowed it. And so, we were having a discussion, me and Keon, during one of our preps. We were talking about, all black people, the way to get over on black people is to tell them what they want to hear. They're going to support you as long as you're telling them what they want to hear, not telling them real solutions, not telling them and discussing the real problems, understanding that, most of our men were raised by single bitter mothers who have instilled a way of thinking in their minds that we now have to deal with, as well as single mothers who raise women to be, to not be women and not to raise families because, we got a whole bunch of bitter women. And it falls, of course, a lot of it goes back to when feminism came into play and how that was used against us in reference to separating our families. So I guess one of the biggest problems that we always come back to is, the breakage that we have within our homes is one of these the biggest problems. Growing up, you're taught to, protect your mom, protect your sister, protect, the women in your family, but no one was, you should protect the little black girl in your class if she's being teased. You shouldn't be involved in that as well. We're not protecting outside of our immediate household either. And I think that has trickled down into what we see today. So I guess the biggest question from all of that is, how do we restore, or what are some ways that you think, and I'll come to UK, what are some ways that you think, and then you, Keon, what are some ways that you think that we as a people need to redefine the relationships between man and woman, and how is that going to be possible in 2019?
Well, first I wanted to touch on that 70%. I try to encourage people to read. And that's one of the things we don't want to do. We like to parrot. And the research that is related to that 70%, it does say that 70% of households are headed by women, single women. Now, when you
Right.
read the small print for that research, single women also includes women with live-in boyfriends, women who have fiancés, women who have other family members to help them. It never says that the men are not involved. It just says that the women are single with children. And so when you hear that, and then you have another piece of research that says Black men are the most involved fathers than any other ethnicity, you can no
Yeah.
longer point the finger at just this single woman. And when it says fathers, it doesn't say the fathers are married. It doesn't say the fathers live in the home. It just says the fathers are involved. So that kind of destroys this adverse relationship that we have, that the community fell apart because of single mothers. No, because the fathers were also involved. It's just that that report took precedence, but nobody read, because I'm a researcher. And the first thing I'm going to do is look at the research and look at the population sample and look at the definitions of the population. And so all it means when it says single and 70% means she's not married. That's all it means. It has nothing to do with whether a father is in place. And people really need to read that, because that single piece of research that was misread and not portrayed accurately has helped in the division between men and women. It really has. And so that means that both men and women have to take responsibility for the falling apart of the community. You can't just point the finger at one person now. And so that's one of the crooks that I see. The issue is we don't want to take ownership for our mess.
Right.
The other piece is, I have a saying that says, you can't have old school love with new school ways. In other words, we cannot accomplish buying property and doing what our elders have done with the way folks think today. Okay, when I grew up, everybody owned their house and they looked just like me and you. Everybody had property, even the poorest of people. They were working to own their homes. Back then, my great-grandmother bought her house in 5 years, scrubbing floors. My grandmother bought her house in 7 years, scrubbing floors and being a nurse. Okay? So that's what I grew up seeing. I did not, grow up nobody owned anything. The barber shop was Black owned. The corner store was Black owned. I'm from up north in New Jersey. And so I came up, seeing different parts of New York where you could walk in and there were Black folks that owned stores over by Ocean Avenue and in different parts of Harlem and Queens. A lot of Black owned locations when I was growing up. Okay, so I look at it. Take the second one. And I talk to some of our people, and what has happened, and I'm seeing it on a regular basis when it comes down to building Black wealth, we sell out. We want the money. We don't want to hold on to the property. And that's part of our problem. We want the money, but we're not doing anything with it. For instance, like the brother here, I'm also a veteran. I own my own home. My mother and father, my father was a veteran. Their home is paid for. So now we have two pieces of property in different states. That property is not going anywhere. We have land in Virginia. That's not going anywhere. But see, that's what I grew up with. I know of elders in their 70s and 80s that have 60 and 70 acres of land just sitting there. Wow. There's a lot of us with land. A lot of us with land. But, when I talk to them, family don't want to do nothing with it. They would rather sell it off. That's why we don't have wealth.
Right.
We're too quick to sell it off. So I've raised my children. I've got 4. My husband passed away, so I'm a widow. And I told them, I don't care what you do. You will not sell these. Matter of fact, in my will, they're not authorized to sell. So that's what we're going to have to do, because the money is better. I mean, back in the day, as soon as they died, oh, I ain't keeping this house. I'm selling it.
Right.
And that's why we don't have anything. It's not because no one left us anything. It's because we got lazy and we didn't want to take care of it. So when their children grew up, their children are looking like, well, dang, they ain't leave us nothing. No, they did. It's that previous generation spent it.
Right.
So we need to have an honest conversation, because the wealth has always been there. But just like the reparations, I look at that and say, nah, don't give nobody a check, because they're going to spend it. They're going to get rid of it. It's going to go right back to the hands it came from. Very few of us will be a collective and put it all together.
Right.
You know, and okay, better yet, why don't you forgive all the student loans for all Black folks? That's a great reparations to start with.
I'm trying to tell you.
You know, why don't you, I don't know, make sure that we pay no property taxes when we do buy a house? That's an excellent reparations. Right. You know, give us something tangible that we can work with, not the check in the hand, because that's useless. That's useless. So
I agree.
When I look at it, first we've got the division, and that's a lie, built on a lie. Then we've got this economic that, you know, that we are not good economically. Another lie. We have trillions of dollars we spend. We're piss poor spenders. We're not a collective. So that's another lie. We definitely have money. If you can stand online for Jordans, we've got money.
Right.
Okay. There are too many of us that own homes, that have properties, that are standing up. For instance, I'm standing up a business. I'm not using any loans. I'm not even touching my VA. It's coming straight out of my pocket, because I don't want to go to a white bank. I don't want their hands on the legacy I'm leaving for my children. Absolutely not. And so I'm teaching my children, and I'm teaching other children who I didn't give birth to. Right. So I say it because I'll be 55, you know, coming up in May.
Okay.
And it's interesting because I see a loss between 26 and 45, where in their mindset that they don't believe we have anything. I was here when we had rotary phones, and now we have phones on our wrists. I saw the entire thing. A lot of people have not seen that.
Right.
I watched us go from being one of the top nations in education to the bottom. Okay. When I came up, chemistry was a 6th grade class. That's a high school class now.
Right. Right.
I grew up, we had check writing classes, agriculture in school, and I went to public school. This thing called home economics. It taught you how to grow. It taught you how to fix things. It taught you how to cook. It taught you how to sew. It taught you all, and then you can go to wood shop, learn how to build something. You can go to automotive. That was public school when I was coming up. Because we all had skills when we walked out, whether you liked it or not. Now, I mean, I've hit this fingers many times on a hammer, but I know what? I know how to change my hoses. I know how to change my belts. I know how to change my oil. I know how to put on brake pads. But see, we learned that. I know how to farm. I know how to grow plants. I know how to sew. Don't tell nobody. I know how to cook. But these skills that I passed on to my children, I got 4 of them. They're grown and they're passing it to their kids. So
right.
I've also watched all of these disappear. You know, back in the day, we had a whole lot of people that were never married but lived together forever. So that's nothing new. And today folks will go, oh, marriage is this and marriage is that. I ain't getting married. Okay, that was the same back then. When we understand that not much has changed and that the only difference is, I remember seeing my dad come home, and back then men called each other man. And they called each other man because they worked in jobs where they were called boy all day. Okay. And so we just have a breakdown. And I, for one, ooh, I don't know if you can hear me, but I, for one, do not believe we need a leader. Yeah, I do not believe we need a leader. I will never buy into that because we are each leaders. We were raised to be leaders.
I agree.
There's a time to follow and there's a time to lead. We were raised to lead. We also can follow and be cool with that. And I've never looked up to a Jesse Jackson. I've never looked up to one man because I was told you can do this if you want to. I was taught, some people were taught one person can't move a mountain. I was taught, yes, you can. It's one stone at a time. Might take a little longer, but it can be done. See, it all depends on how you were raised. And I was raised in the inner city. We were smart, we were politically aware. We understood the Constitution and that it wasn't for us. We understood that we were Black and they didn't like us. We understood not to go outside by ourselves. We understood that we watched everybody's child and took care of everybody's child. We understood it wasn't okay to molest our children because it was back there then too. We understood that you didn't have domestic violence, although it existed. The men took care of it. There were many men that got a beat down behind that. We understood all that. But today, we've got what I call the ostrich effect. We stick our head in the sand and say the white man did that. Okay. We got to get off of the crutches.
I agree.
And
I agree.
we got to let that mess go. Because right now, we are all we got. We already know that's not for us. We know these laws are not for us. We already know they don't give a damn about us. But the one thing we do have is the dollar bill. And that speaks everybody's language.
Right.
It makes people quiver. You know, I'm a firm believer that the water they building is not so they can't get in. I think it's so we can't get out. When Marcus Garvey had his boats, what did they do? He was taking folks back to Africa. What did they do? They destroyed the boat so we couldn't leave. They don't want us going anywhere. They don't. And so we need to really start looking at stuff and stop with the rhetoric and stop going with emotion and think critically. We are financially capable. We got elders out here that got land on top of land on top of land. I know 10 elder Black Panthers, and I am a Panther, Black Panther, original, not the others. And all of them, between them, average 60 acres of land apiece. Just sitting there. Different states. Most of the Panthers that I know, we all got house property. We all are setting up businesses. We're not using loans. We are doing it. We're spread out. We're not so concentrated because we learn that when you're concentrated, they can blow those up. So we need to be a little bit more spread out. You know, we have to learn from the past. I think that's the other thing that people are afraid of. Since I was a kid, they were showing those pictures of the dogs attacking and the hoses and being beaten. And that's in our psyche now. So it does create a fear if you rise up. It does.
I agree.
You know, but again, you're looking at me. I've been held at gunpoint. I've had, you know, a gun to my forehead. I've had a knife to my throat. I have been felt up by a cop. I've been slammed against a cop car. That don't stop me. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Right.
because we have another generation that we are responsible for that's going to be lost if we don't pull our heads out of our behinds and stop with the rhetoric and get to work. And I've got two granddaughters, and I'm already legacy building. The two businesses I'm starting, that's in their name, not mine.
Right.
You know, my children, they're squared away. They know how to run it. And I'm going to start up more businesses and
Right.
keep it going and show other kids this is how you do this. This is how. Come on, I mentor, and I'm knee deep now. I'm out here in Texas, and
Mhm.
I already know when they realize that I have stood up something and I'm bringing blacks together. I've created a directory of all the black-owned businesses. I already have black people telling me, "How dare you? Why
Mm.
you want to start something?" So I'm already prepared to take on my own people if I have to. I will
You
cap
get
them just
you
as
get the
quick
same
as I cap
conversation as
anybody
me.
else. But
What
that's
you?
what we have to understand. We
I
got work
told
to
you
do.
about them.
We got work to do. And sometimes our worst enemies look just like us. They look
All
just
skin
like
fo-
us. And we need to
all
be
skin folks
prepared.
ain't kin folks for sure.
Thank
Man,
you.
I fell out
Thank
with one
you.
of my
And
people about this conversation this week. It's crazy
see?
you said that. I'm talking about this same
Mm-hmm.
conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I have a couple friends of mine now. I have been approached by two men and two women on different occasions with threats. How dare
Wow.
you want to identify black business and funnel black monies? And you know what? Don't threaten me with a good time because it's on. We're not doing that.
That would have hold on. That would a good time. Wait a minute. Hold on.
See, that's the
But see,
same thing that I
and
was saying. That's the
Who we
same
got
exact
on this
thing I was
show?
saying.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That's
And see, we got
that's
to stop being
you sound
afraid.
just
That's
like I
why I
do.
think we are afraid. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. And that's part of it. I think we're just afraid. I ain't got no
Get
fear.
back to that.
I'm just
Right.
as retarded and crazy as the next person. You
Right.
know, yeah, I'm packing, I carry. They're not too sure what to expect. But you know what? I'm gonna stand these businesses up. You're not gonna stop me, even if you look like me.
The only
You
reason that
know,
they
I
scared of you is
have.
because they are afraid to take a stand on their own because it's like a
Mm-hmm.
whack a mole. It's like the whack a mole game. You know, you are the mole that gets stuck up and get hit in the head and like you just stay there. They don't want to go up and get hit. You know, they want to look at you. They want
Mm-hmm.
to be like you, but they ain't got the courage. And that's why I said that we need a leader.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone needs a leader. Every organization needs a leader
Mm-hmm.
because they need someone that is going to speak for the masses. We all can't be talking at the same time. So what we need is one person or even a commission of people that are going to speak for us as a collective. So when something needs to be said, they go to this group to say it. Now it used to be the NAACP, it used to be the Panthers and everything, but now we need a new group that's going to speak for. Yeah, I know. I laugh when I say the NAACP too, but you know, just go with me for a second.
I
I'm
I
just
think
saying
that
that you know.
I
Oh
mean
wait,
I
was that
could
my
see
outside face? I'm so sorry.
There you go. I mean, I know the problems that we have with the NAACP, but I'm just saying for the argument's sake. I mean, Medgar Evers came out of there, just
Mm-hmm.
Martin Luther King. Anybody that died for us gets
Mm-hmm.
gets to be on the Black Mount Rushmore, regardless of what group they were in, because they died on the battlefield of trying to get us something. So whatever group they were with, be it a religious group or whatever, and they died, Malcolm, Martin, Medgar Evers, they get the respect for being in that group. Now the group as a whole might have been a piece of shit, but they were obviously outstanding in that particular group. But we need some group to speak for us and say, hey, look, these are our demands. This is what we need, want, and desire. Whoever you listen to over there on the other side, they ain't got nothing to do with us. And every time I post on when I'm on Twitter and I'm posting to Kamala Harris or whatever, I'm like, look, you don't speak for black people. You don't get to speak for us because at least what I'm trying to do is get somebody that's looking at her post to say, who the hell is this person? If I say something long enough, then they'll start paying attention to me. you know, but you know, somebody has to say something because it's easy to sit there and make a post or a video on Facebook or whatever, but and just act like you want to be a leader. But leaders don't real black leaders don't have retirement plans. So, you know, if you're not really ready to take that spot, then you shouldn't be, you know, interviewing for the position.
Well, see,
I think that that's where,
go ahead.
and let me just and apologize, but I think, and I'm definitely in agreement with Sister K when I say that, because we have to learn from our history, right? And every time that we've implemented that system, it has failed us, and it has failed us because that leader or the person that was speaking for us, when their voice was cut off, it really devastated the entire movement. It sends us a back. So as much as they talk about ISIS and whatever their origin of it or however it existed, I would prefer to see us move in that manner. It's a movement. There is no one specific leader. Now, if something has to be said, of course, maybe, possibly. However, everyone is moving in the same direction. So it's a movement. Because once we apply a leader or say that I am the leader, one, ego comes into play, which we have a major problem with within our community, and then they become a target. And so if we are relying on them to lead us or to speak on our behalf, which we really can't, I would definitely like to see a body of people move as one, or move as a voice. What we're doing what we're doing underground, and what we're planning and what we're moving for, because they would have to come into and understand the role that they're coming. But to designate one leader or one or two or three leaders is where we would again fail, because now we're adding a target to someone who we are relying to speak for us. We really need to be raising more leaders. We really need to be raising, we're tribal people for a reason. So I think that we need to collectively join tribes. And like the sister said, we got elders over here, we got elders over here, we got elders over here. I think that if we were to able to do pockets of change and everybody was to focus on where they are, then we would see a more worldwide or even a nationwide amount of change that we're not seeing right now. Because one, we can't even come together and that's something that needs to happen. We need to get with the elders. I would love to get with them at 4. I would love to get with them, and actually we really need to get back to where we have, there are no TVs, there's no cell phones. It's a closed room meeting. We need to get back to that. It's a lot that we need to get back to if we really want to implement real change. And it's not going to happen if we say, people, some people want to call. I never looked at Tariq as a leader. I never looked at Polite as a leader. I never looked at any of these brothers as a leader of Black people, but I do feel that they were influential for the Black people that followed them, or the Black people who were in tune with what it is that they were teaching, if that makes sense. But the problem is that we can't take this group here and this tribe here and this tribe here and this tribe here and come together as one. And that is the biggest problem that we're having at all. At least in my opinion, that's what's not happening. And could that be because we are not? Because you said something very big there, from 26 to 45. Though that age group of people, I mean, I'm in that age group of people, and I know that people my age, 35, 40, 43, yes, we are at a standstill. I believe that we are at a standstill because I'm implementing certain things for my children as well. We're not gonna continue the generational curses. We're just not. That's not going to happen in my lineage. But how do we keep that on an even grander scale if we can even work with our immediate families on that. Does that make sense? What are your thoughts,
Yeah.
Dion? You've been quiet.
Um, I just been listening to it all, and in terms of leadership, I gotta agree with the women because I think we're more than capable of moving as a collective body. Because I do believe we
Mhm.
are gods and goddesses. I don't think it's one person that could lead something as strong as us.
Right.
I just don't think that's the case. In terms of the person that speaks for us, we have people who speak great within our nation. So we just give them the note and let them speak what we think. But I
Mhm.
think the only way we can continue to move is to be chameleon like and to just move as a people.
Mhm.
It's more so like if you see 10 people coming your way, you don't want it with none of those 10, not just the one guy. And
Right.
you can discourage the other 9. You just don't want it with that pack of people. You know what I mean? It's like, just
Mhm.
leave them alone because once you start up with one of them, you done started with all 10. Once
Mhm.
we develop that pack mentality, because we have strengths that are different. Everybody, we have different strengths. Even us 4 on this phone, we all have different strengths. So the wisdom is understanding when to follow the strength that's needed
Right.
at the time. You understand what I'm saying? So if the strength is what I need right now, if K Mac is the strength right now, I have to have the wisdom to know it's time to follow her. And if Brother Joey, in the next hour, if his knowledge is what needs to be in the forefront, I have to know it's time for me to
Right.
back it up. I got to listen to what he's talking about now.
Right.
That's where I think the humility, we have to have a humility because our humility
Mhm.
is our strength. That's when we
Right.
understand who we are and what our powers are. And that's when
Mhm.
we are able to tolerate and like what Kay was saying earlier, we understood the disadvantages that we had so we could make them our advantages if we
Mhm.
use each other. You understand what I'm saying? Right now, the illusion of inclusion got you sitting there kind of lame right now. You don't even know what you're up
Mhm.
against to know what your fight is. So even though you might
Mhm.
have the strength to fight it, you don't know what you're up against to know how much strength you're gonna need. So I think it's very important that we understand who we are and what our gifts are as a people because we don't need reparations like you said, we don't need it in a check form, but those other forms will be beneficial. But what we do need
Mhm.
is a
Long term.
cohesiveness between one another because we can conquer anything. We are the wealth. That's why they don't want us to go nowhere. The
Mhm.
ideas come from
Right.
us. The strength of the nation comes from us. You understand what I'm saying? If it's flavor given here, everything is better with color. Nobody brags about black and white television. Nobody does. You know what I mean? A white poster board is only good when you put the colors on it. And I don't care, you know what I mean? I don't care
That's
what's
right.
going on. So we are the flavor, we are the wealth. We just don't understand it. And until we start
Mhm.
empowering one another and acknowledging one another's power without feeling insecure ourselves. It's okay to say, yeah, you strong in that area. You know what I mean? Can you teach me in this area? That's how we've
Mhm.
always
Right.
been as a
That's
collective.
how it's been.
And I
Mhm.
think also you're right, we have gotten lazy because everybody do be like, yeah, I don't want this house. This house old. They don't think about
Mhm.
knocking the house down and rebuilding the house on the same land, which is going to be much more beneficial than just getting rid of the
Mhm.
land and the property. You understand what I'm saying? The
Mhm.
whole the thing is when you talk about generational wealth, if your grandmother left you land, that's something you started off with that she didn't start off
Right.
with. So those
Right.
5 acres with
Mm.
nothing on it, now you got the
Yep.
strength to put something on those 5 acres. You understand what I'm saying? But if nobody's around
Right.
to teach you what to do, because we do take pride in spoiling our children and things of that nature, so we ain't teaching them to work. Ain't nobody sitting down with
Mhm.
grandma while she's shucking peas no more, because grandmama don't feel like shucking no damn peas no more. You understand what I'm saying? I don't feel like doing all that.
Mhm.
But the reality of the matter
Mhm.
was that's when we were better. Like I was telling April one day, in actuality, the black woman got tricked in a sense in terms of what her power was because in her household, she controlled the sex and the food. Those are very powerful positions. You know what I mean? That's just period, point
Yes.
blank. You
Yes.
are in charge of some things right there. You know what I'm saying? You control a lot right there. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Even in the joint, they
Mhm.
don't bother the cook. In the joint, they are not messing with the cook. They might mess with anybody else, but they're not messing with the cook. So
Mhm.
it's a trick that happened because we were a better people before we started thinking about stuff. And we have gotten away from wealth
Mhm.
Mm.
and started thinking about being rich. And the being rich is temporary, being wealth is forever. You know, that building wealth is forever.
Right.
So we've got those two things messed up. We looking up to LeBron James, but we ain't looking at the fact that the dude who cut his check gotta have some cake. You know, we need those positions because it doesn't make sense that, like brother said, the NFL can just come into Inglewood and take over Inglewood, and 85% of the players that play for them are us. So you mean to tell me they gonna use us to disenfranchise us? If that ain't the ultimate pimping, I don't know what is. So basically, they just taking our talents and making themselves rich, and we're allowing them to continue to do it. Because if you take our talents away, what do they have? They ain't got nothing. On no level do they have anything. It's our talents that create the flavor. Everywhere you look, it's our talents. In commercials, you see hip hop now. You see jazz. You see Motown. That's our stuff. And it comes from the poorest places. So it's not that we're poor, even if we don't have the monetary things that they have. We're not poor. We can have nothing that creates something. We just have forgotten we can create something from nothing. You know what I mean? We don't need the Gucci. We had sisters back in the day. Everybody could sew. So you had fashion that nobody else seen. It was, you know, that's what was coming out of Harlem and South Side of Chicago. They was they was in there with grandma coming up with the new design that once she stepped and went to work, it was like, where you get that from? My mama, we done got so far away from that because it's like, it's demeaning to know how to do that kind of stuff. And it's not. That's empowered. That's when you know how to do something. When you can pull 4 sisters in a room, everybody know how to sew. This one know how to design. This one know how to draw. And they done came up with a whole concept to build something from nothing. That's what our gift is, to come up with something from nothing. We just have forgotten. We think our gifts is in 401ks and what this job title is and, you know, what this position is. All stuff that they assign to us. They can't give you power and take, you know what I mean? They shouldn't be able to just give you power. You were born with it. They look up to you. They don't hate you. They love you. You understand what I'm saying? You just got to love you. That's all it is. You just got to love you. That's why I know, like, the vision that I talk about is just the fact that, like, I know I need a sister. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'm incomplete without her. You understand what I'm saying? Now, I just need her to understand she ain't complete without me. We gonna be straight. We a squad now. You know what I'm saying? There's a certain humility I gotta give to her. No matter who I am in the world, when it come to her, there's a certain humility and a certain way I have to be with her. I cannot just be, you know what I mean? Because in essence, she gives me power and vice versa. So without that power, I'm not as strong as I need to be on a day-to-day basis. And she ain't as strong as she need to be. So that creates a resentment because we both know we got more power in our battery pack. We just it ain't next to us. And that's what's frustrating us. And that's what keeps us disenfranchised. And it affects our children and our grandchildren. And we just got to get back to basics. We have been distracted by some of the craziest things when we know we are stronger when we together, period.
Yep.
You know, even men have adopted this mind frame like, oh, you're just a woman. And you know, when it comes to black women have never been just a woman, you know, so, you know, that's for us to adopt that, she ain't never been just a woman. She always been superhero-ish in our lives, period, point blank. Now, that doesn't mean you take that and you try to run with what your ancestors did because the generation now ain't superheroes. You understand what I'm saying? They trying to live off the legacy of what she was in previous generations. They not tapping into their powers. You understand what I'm saying? Just like the men ain't tapping into their power. So I can't sit back and look at and channel what even a Tupac did until you ready to put that on the line. Like you said, you gotta be ready to put that on the line.
That's
Tupac is Tupac because he was ready to put it on the line.
Put it on the line.
Right there, no matter what time. Until you get to that point, you're not gonna be living. Because in essence, we dying anyway. You just dying coward. Right. You ain't dying like you're supposed to. And that's where the shame come in. That's where the what do you call it? The lack of self-confidence comes in. They got to see you standing strong against something. That's when your kids gonna stand strong against something. When they see you stand strong against it. Because they, like you said,
I definitely,
you know, they taking cues from you. So when they see you in the face of it, like, nah, this is what it's gonna be. That's what it, and that's why they don't know how to have relationships, because our generation haven't shown. It's our fault. You know, the 26-year-olds, the 40, it's our fault that the 18 and 21-year-olds don't know how to kick it in the same room. It's our fault.
I would have to agree. I would definitely have to agree because, yeah, I would definitely have to agree because a lot of the problems that because even my mother, growing up, my mother taught me how to sew, taught me how to crochet, taught me how to cook. Those things were instilled in me as well. A lot of women my age did not receive those installments
Right.
of love. They were not taught that. They were taught that, as like we were talking about last week, this whole culture that has cultivated within our communities. Like if you doing this for this man, he needs to be doing this for you. Versus, this is how you actually raise a family. This is what you do for your family. Versus, an exchange of goods for actually providing love and care and a way, the rites of passage. We've gotten away from doing from that. And it's something so small that, when the men would take our sons and actually take them out and show them how to hunt and show them actually how to, to be men. We totally lost that for 20, 30 years.
No, we still got it. They just teach them how to hunt each other now. They don't teach them how to hunt for resources. They teach them how to hunt each other at this particular point. You understand what I'm saying? Which is the sad part.
I'll give you that.
So they still got the heart. They still possess the same thing to do what they got to do. They just got to channel the energy different. And the only way that that's going to happen is if they see us doing it. They don't want to know what we're talking about because even to them, we are cowardly in a sense. They're not crazy. So they have a brave, youthful energy that we need. But the only way they're going to use it in the right way is if they see us doing it the right way, because a lot of them are mad at us too, based on how we've interacted with each other.
Yeah,
they don't believe in what we're saying.
Oh yeah.
So we've disappointed them in a sense, and we gotta take responsibility for the disappointment that we've shown, but we can get it back. It's nothing, because we're forgiving people. We love each other. You understand what I'm saying? It's not hard, but until we start looking in that direction, it's not gonna happen, because we're like you said, hard conversations have to happen, and they're tough. They hurt. They really do hurt. But and the youth, they will listen. That's the other thing that I am constantly hearing from different people is that the youth don't listen. They're no good. And I'm just like, can it be that you have nothing to say? Can it be that they can see the hypocrisy? You talking out of both sides of your mouth. Exactly.
Can it be that, when you think about it, I don't know. When it comes, like for myself, if someone confuses me, that pisses me off. I don't like it. Don't confuse me. And so here I am, a grown woman. Imagine someone younger. Most of our youth don't like confusion. They, because it's like you're trying to be slick. But if you don't have anything to say, if you're not walking the walk, not that do as I say, not as I do, that's gone. We should not even be doing that. We also need to be consistent. We have to be very consistent. That's one thing we don't do, is we don't stick with it. And so the youth are not going to follow because, they're just like, oh, so you do this for a year or two and then you quit.
Everybody.
And what example is that?
Right.
Yeah.
That's strong. That's all you following is
something
that shows strength in that leadership. That's all you're going to follow. And that's anything.
Exactly. And you better know what you're talking about. Like, for here, I do work with our youth from the Black Student Union and some of the high schools. I do and go and talk to them. And they volunteer with me. They communicate with me. They see what I do. I mean, I'm politically involved. I am an activist. Like I said, I'm a Panther, and they all know that. They know I'm a business owner. They know I'm standing up businesses. They know I will tell you F you and the horse you rode in on in a heartbeat, and I don't blink an eye. And it was awesome the last time that I met with them, because they're all on spring break. The young brothers and sisters were sitting around, and I talked to them about some of the things. I mean, I've actually held my relatives' slave shackles. I actually have held those. So I know what those feel like. And that was I'm not going to say consciousness, but that was the fuel that lit the fire within. And, talking with them, the youth were like, because my name is Kim, they're like, Miss Kim, which I'm okay with them calling me Miss Kim, as long as that Miss is in there. They're like, we are afraid for you because you're older and we're the ones with the energy. And so I had to kind of go back in my Rolodex in my brain. And then I actually had a conversation with some of my elders, because I have a council of elders that I talk to. There's about 8 of them, men and women. I talk to them all the time. They give me so much wisdom and guidance. It's not funny. And one of my elders was basically like, your role now is to teach them and protect them. They have the energy to carry it out. So I do understand. And then I have to ask my elders who are in their 80s, they're still out here talking to the street tribes, pulling them out the gutter, cleaning them up, like they said, they'll stop when they die. Well, I'm the same way. I'll stop when I die. But, sitting with these youth, I said, my role now is to give you what I have, to mentor you and protect you. Your role is to take what you've learned and what you have, that energy, and go out and handle business. But I got your back. So they are willing if we are willing. I don't know how else to put it.
I agree. They want it. They want it so bad.
They want it.
They really do want it.
Man. They will. Right. And see, the main issue that I have right now is they're getting the Black woman energy. They're not getting the male energy.
The imbalance.
And it's frustrating, right? Because the Black men here are too busy trying to be white. And I'm just like,
that's because it's scary.
Y'all killing me.
They scare.
Exactly.
It's scary in America.
Exactly.
To be other than one of those, so you got to water yourself down in order for you to feel like you accomplishing something. But at the same time, you're not accomplishing anything, because the minute you wake up, because you can say the truth in the most subtle white manner, and they finna, you ain't their favorite no more. You understand what I'm saying? And you said it
exactly.
Way. So that's still cowardice in a sense. You know what I'm saying? You got to be who you are and in your position, because that's just what it is. That's just what your position is for right now. You know what I mean? It might not be what somebody else's situation is, but I've also seen when Black men and Black women have worked together, and the shit is magical. Pardon my French. That shit is magical.
And it is 100%.
Yeah, when
and see, we do.
Along, it's beautiful.
It is, and the thing is, like, now it's at a critical point where they actually want to develop like a SNCC organization. And I don't know if you're familiar with the Student Nonviolent Committee from back in the day. I mean, they were active politically, stood in front of police. I mean, they were awesome. And I don't mind supporting them, but like I said, I don't have that male balance.
Right.
And so now, talking to my elders, 80% of them are males. They're like, well, you know what? If we got to fly down there to go help you, we'll do it. And I love that. But, they're at an age where they should be relaxing.
Right.
But they can't relax. And it's sort of like, as a Black woman, when do I get a chance to be a Black woman and relax?
Right.
And it's not time.
Here's one thing that I think social media affords us.
We need some light.
I'm always in the dark.
I see that. There he is. Okay. Okay.
Here's one thing. Social media affords us the opportunity to meet people that are across the street, across the city, across the world.
Right.
Um, with few exceptions, there should be no reason that people have to jump on a plane, train, automobile, rickshaw, to go and meet anyone to impart information these days. Um, because we have so many different tools. We're on Hangout right now. We have Facebook. We have all these other things. So information can pass faster over the internet. I say that because if there are brothers and sisters in the youth class that want to learn from the elders, that information should be passed rapidly because the internet or technology giveth and taketh away. Because if you don't pass that information real fast, then they're gonna be on to something else real fast. If that makes any sense, because they have the attention span of 5 seconds, whatever's going on right now. If you say, "Oh, I'll be there in 2 days,"
Not
oh, that fire done
necessarily.
went out.
That's what I'm saying.
Not all the
That's
time. I'm
what,
just
yeah, not
saying.
necessarily. Yeah.
No, I'm not saying all
Again,
the
it
time. It's
depends
just
on the
that's the
information
way.
that you give.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of kids they like, "Oh yeah, I'm ready to do this," and then it's like 2 days later, it's like, "Oh, what were we talking about?" That information needs to pass real fast to get them hot on the ball. Also, the biggest thing, if they're going to be, you talking about SNCC, we need to, as far as black people, we need to create our own. Tavis Smiley used to have it, what, every year, the Black Agenda. We need to have our own political party,
Yeah, I agree.
because
Hmm.
obviously, we know that the Republicans. I posted this the other day, yesterday or day before yesterday. Lyndon Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act. The Democrats uh, try to take credit for it, but he was a Dixiecrat. He was really a Republican, faking like a Democrat. You know, but the Republicans really signed the Civil Rights Act, and the Democrats haven't done anything but rode on the Civil Rights Act bandwagon. Knowing this, black people have not gotten anything out of either party in about 50 years or so. So we need to start our own political party now with our
Hmm.
own agenda and our own issues, because they're
Hmm.
not doing anything to fix it. I mean, it's cute to have this little ADOS movement and the wanting the reparations movement, but like you said, getting a check is not going to do anything for us because it's going to be game over. We need something that's going to sustain us. Like
Hmm.
Elijah Muhammad said, we need land, we need tools, we need supplies for a certain amount of time so we can get ourselves on our feet economically and everything in order to sustain ourselves. Giving us a check is not going to do anything for us, because once they give us a check, if a million, 2 million, $10, $5, they're gonna say, okay, this is all you get. No more no more welfare, no more WIC, no more Social Security, no more nothing. This is all you get. If you're gonna take that, then that's all you're gonna get. If you need to ask for something else, everybody's running around. You notice all these people saying, "Oh, we need a check. We need a check," because everybody else got a check, but they know what to do with the money once they got the check.
Hmm.
Us, we don't know what to do with it because we can't even control our own paycheck. Soon as we get it, our money stays in our community one time. It flips one time, if that. And I just give it one time because it goes from your hand to somebody else. So the Asians, their money flips 6, 7, 8 times, 10, 12 times, because it goes from his hand to the Asian bank to an Asian that's going to buy a house to an Asian that's going to buy a car to this and that and this and that. And they money going all over their community, building it up. Us, we don't have none of that. So we need to have these young brothers and sisters first learn to love themselves, racial education, racial love, divest from integration, because integration doesn't do anything. I tell my kids all the time, the only time you need to deal with anybody else that's not black is in business and commerce. If it's not about business or commerce, then you don't need to deal with them. You don't need to be dating nobody that ain't black. because I'm sitting in the car and my light went out.
You're in the dark.
Yeah, basically, you know. So I mean, we need to teach our kids racial education so they can know what to do. It's easy to say, do this or do that, but if you don't have any kind of evidence behind it, then they're not going to get anywhere. If that makes any sense. So with the SNCC situation, whatever you want to call it, they, if they want to be politically astute, they have to know how the game is played, and the game is used at this moment. Democrats use black people to push the agenda of everybody
They
else.
all use us. They all use
And
us.
then once we get black people
They
to
both use
do
it.
the foot
Republicans
soldier
do
work,
too.
yeah, once they get black people to do the foot soldier work, we'll put them back on the shelf like the China dolls they are until we need them 2 or 4 years from now. That's the
But the problem is that a lot of people are not politically savvy. They don't get involved in local
exactly.
politics. They don't get involved in anything of anything. Okay, see, I'm not that type of person, you know. So with them, if they want to do a SNCC, they're going to get the political education. We have some now that are willing to run for office. That's what you want. You got to grow your own,
Exactly.
but you got to make sure that you've got the right soil and the right nutrition. There's a lot of people who have no clue about politics because they don't want to be bothered with it. So what are you going to teach them? Don't be bothered with it. And that's the concern. We have got to get involved. I've had people say, well, why do you bother? Well, there's certain monies floating around in politics that, at the local level that I was able to get from my community because nobody applied for it. Well, we didn't know it existed. Exactly. You got to get involved. You got to learn about it. But there's this mindset that if you're a politician, you're automatically a liar. Well, I'm an elected official. I am also, like I said, a business owner. I'm also behavioral health. I'm an advocate. I do all of that because I'm nosy. On top of that, I need to learn this stuff so I can teach the next generation. And that's
Right.
part of our problems is we're lazy.
Right.
And that laziness is just being taught to the next generation.
I
We
won't
got
say
to,
that we're
in order,
particularly lazy. I think we're just unlearned. We've been taught bad
why are we
behavior.
unlearned? Why are
Well,
we unlearned?
we're unlearned because that is because because the lack of knowledge was passed down from generation to generation, and one of the easiest ways to pass down bad behaviors is unfortunately, through the mother, because she's the teacher of the children. She only knows what she can only teach what she knows, which is very little. So she passes it to the kids because her mother passed it to her, and her mother passed it to her. It's very few that actually can teach anything of value, and it went not with few exception, because we see it in our community every day. We see these unlearned children, and they become parents, and they don't teach their children anything, and then it perpetuates itself. Just that's how I was talking to somebody about religion. I'm like, this is how black people became Christian, because it was beat into us during slavery and passed down from the mother to the children, that if you want to be good with the master, you got to be practicing his religion and his God and everything, and it perpetuates itself. So when you ask a black person these days, why are you a Christian? They say, because my mama was, or my grandmother was, and it goes backwards and forwards. And then the same way that we became this religion is the same way we learn bad behaviors. We have to unlearn what we have learned, and then we can learn how to move forward. We need to
Okay, well,
start
first of
teaching our
all,
kids.
you ke- first of all, you cannot unlearn something. There's no such thing. What you can do is correct your learning. Okay, and
Well,
the thing
I say
is,
that because it doesn't sound like it
with
makes
all of
any sense.
this, but
Hold on, Joey. Hold on.
with all the social media knowledge floating around for years, nothing is still happening. That's why I say we're
Right.
lazy. We have everything
Right.
at our fingertip. You want to learn something, know something, you got the latest phone, you got all of this stuff, and nothing
All
has
this
still
technology.
changed.
Right.
So it is
And
not that you don't know, and you cannot blame that on the mom. You cannot blame that on, you can't do it anymore because everything is here. You know how to work it. You know how to Google. You know how to get a book. You just don't want, that's why I say you're lazy. It later for mom. We can't use those excuses anymore because those are the crutches that people continue to use so that they don't have to do it. No, no, with all of this information here, no, you're lazy. We are
I would have
lazy.
I
to,
understand. I mean,
and
I should have preferenced my statement by saying up until the time of, but I did say with social media and technology. So I should have prefaced that my statement by saying up until the
Mhm.
point that we had access to all of this information at our fingertips, we had no excuse to be unlearned. Now we are unlearned. Now we have
I
no
just
excuse to be in this current condition.
I think that, going back to what Keon was saying, was, basically, for one, we are a show and prove people. Okay. So, it really is a domino effect of someone actually doing and showing that
Mhm.
it can be done in order for it
Mhm.
to be repeated. And that's what
Mhm.
we're not, that's not what's happening. We're not going to find that on social media. We shouldn't
Right.
find it on social media. We should find it with people that have boots on the ground,
On the
people who are
ground.
right, for people who are physically putting in work in their community. How do we unite those communities? How, because I know when I'm in Atlanta now, but when I lived in Orlando, my house was an open house. All the children could come to my house. They could come eat. When kids ran away from home, they came to my
Mhm.
house.
Same here.
And from there, we would call their mother, we would call their father, and we
Yep.
would come up with a resolution, because they
Yep.
knew that was possible. And even
Mhm.
even let's just look at social media. Maybe about 5 years ago, when we did everybody changed their profile pic to the RBG, red, black, and green, to our flag, right? That happened. That went viral in a matter of hours. And it was a lot of children who 16, 14, 22 that were just throwing it up because they definitely want to be connected to
Mhm.
their African history. They definitely want to be a part of it. They definitely want to fight. They are definitely waking up and seeing what the difference between what happened with Bill Cosby versus what's happening to Harvey. They are recognizing those things now. But see, we can't just open eyes and do nothing, because we still have to teach.
Mhm.
And that's what we're not.
Mhm.
I don't think that we are continuously teaching. Like you said, we'll start something, we'll do it for a little while, and then it's non-existent almost. And so we
Mhm.
do have to get to a point where we are not just showing and doing, but we're proving how it was able to get done. And until we are able to show and prove,
Right.
we won't see much improvement. And it can't be a temporary
Right.
fix. It has to be, even like with boycotting. I tell people all the time, boycotting.
Yes.
I don't even like the word. I think it's a lifestyle. You should slowly but
Mhm.
surely be moving all of your funds and spending all of your money with African people.
Mhm.
We
That's right.
can't just wait. We in one of our prep talks, we can't just wait until Gucci does something. We know how Gucci feels. We know how
Mhm.
high end people feel. We know how they feel about us. We just have gotten to a point where our self esteem is based on money and how much money we got, and
Money.
how much
Mhm.
and how much money we don't have, and who got the most amount of money. Everything is going back to a material substance, and not a long term. Like Keon said, we got duped, bamboozled into
Mhm.
being rich and not being wealthy.
Yep.
Because just like
Right. Right.
when the situation happened with Bill Cosby, and I have a lot of thoughts on that. But who would have really cared if this was a black man that just so happened to live down the street from me? Everybody cared because
Yep.
he got money. So
Right.
we also have to not just care about what the people who have money or who have influential, dollars. We gotta care about all of us. We gotta care about the single moms. We gotta care about the single fathers, because they exist as
That's
well.
right.
We have to actually get
Yep.
down and actually get back to caring and taking care of each other. And we have really gotten away from that. And it's for a lot of different we've been bamboozled. I don't think
Yeah.
it's no
Yeah.
other way around it. We have gotten to a place where, the saying, people, they want to see you do good, but not better than them. And I think that's one thing that is stopping us as well, is that we're so stuck. And if someone gets ahead before we do, which I just can't. If my sister is able to get ahead, that means that I have a whole trail to follow to go right behind her. I shouldn't be trying to run up behind her and knock her off her feet. And you know what I'm saying? But that's kind of where we are too. So I guess my biggest thing is, and what I'm striving for, and where we definitely want this platform is, we want to take these discussions, then have them in person. We want to be able to actually have to get to the point where we're having community discussions and putting assignments, putting goals together, that I'm going to do this in Atlanta. You're going to do this in Houston. You're going to do this in Watts. You're going to do this in Orlando. And we really need to collectively be working toward an ultimate goal. Which, I mean, because like Sister K said, we got the money. We've been had the money. Brain power. We have the brain power. We have the technology to accomplish really anything. And the only thing that has stopped us in the past was our lack of protection. And I think that with the technology that we have now, and with the ability that we have now, we're good. We good. We just really have to, we need to have a plan of action. And I would love to see little towns of Black people throughout the United States. I think this over the next 2, 3, 5 years, that's something that really needs to take place. Those really need to take place. We really need to start utilizing small towns where we have our own mayor. We have our own schools. We have our own hospitals. I don't think that is not within our means. I just don't.
There are towns that you can buy. It's a bunch
that
of
you
them.
can purchase. That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a bunch, and they're cheap. Well, relatively cheap. I mean, I saw. It used to be on Facebook. I had some friends years ago, a couple years ago, that used to post about all these little towns and stuff that were abandoned. And they were ready roll. They were ready roll towns. They were like $1.5 million, and for a whole town with water and everything. And I'm like, dude, if we could put our money together, But see, if we could put our money together, we could buy these properties. I wouldn't have no problem in buy. If I won the lottery today, I'd go buy up 5. I'll be running around the country buying up these little towns and stuff like that.
You got to save some for me now, because that's my thought.
Because they're empty. They're empty, and and they're ready rolled. They got houses and they got the whole shot. But it boils down to, like I said, I look at it as I look at myself as a litmus test almost, because I'm like, all right, here's the deal. If I started a website just for Black people. I can't get Black people to get on and utilize the site a lot. Now, if I sit here and spend all my money, if you don't want to use a free website, and I'm going to spend my money to buy a damn town, and you don't want, move there, it's like, that's kind of retarded, because we can't get people to do nothing free just to see if they want to do something, but they lips move. Then how are you going to expect them to want to do, to move and spend their money in an area that's all Black? If that makes any sense.
I think that a lot of times, we have great concepts and we have great ideas, but we forget that we are dealing with Black people. So, we have to know what we're dealing with too. We have to understand why we think the way we think now, how we got to that place, because people don't just, the thoughts that we're having now didn't just happen. They have progressively happened. And so we have to understand how to deal with our people, because I definitely am working on some things, but I also understand that if I say, we have 100 acres, we need construction, we need nurses, we need teachers, everybody who comes in, you own this land. I have to give my people something. I can't just expect them to come and I have to show them a benefit I have to show improve. I have to show improve. I just can't say, I got a website. Like, there's another brother who started a website, and I did some consulting with him, and he charges like $4, like $1 a week or something like that. And so, he was like, he can't get people to pay the minimum fee or whatever. I said, well, why don't you start like a referral program where they bring people on and you give them $1, for every time that somebody comes on. Out of the $4, you can afford to give them $1. No, why I gotta do that? Because you're dealing with Black people. You feel me?
Mine is free. I give you open the door. Open the door, come in. I understand what you're saying, but I'm like, come on now. I done beat the concept. I done beat the concept to death.
Yeah, but see, the reality is that free has no value. It holds no value. So nobody's gonna treasure it. It holds no value. It doesn't benefit. We have to give a benefit to our people. We just can't, because that's free too. You know what I'm saying? True. Like, so we have to provide a benefit when we're talking about dealing with our people. We just can't be like, hey, I done made an amusement park, come and get on the rides. No, what's the benefit of me coming to this amusement park with you? To support you. We have to give it to them. It's no way around it, because that's the type of, we have to remember who we're dealing with. And I think a lot of people with that fact.
And I'm very glad that you said that. I'm sorry, go ahead, Queen, finish.
No, go ahead. I'm done.
I was going to say, that is exactly, and this is why I continue to bring, the Black Panther Party and Garvey. They gave something to the people, and the people came. They gave more to the people, and the more people came. And see, we're not paying attention to how things were done. The WIC program, it was started by the Panther Party. Your clinics on the corner, started by the Panther Party. Your ambulance services, started by the Panther Party. We are capable. We've been capable. And they wrote a blueprint on it. How did they do all that? Do people read it? Nope. And to know that a breakfast program was considered as the nation's biggest threat. Why? Because they fed the people. The people came and were receptive to what was taught about being Black, being proud, being strong. You feed the people, they come back and they learn more. But see, we forgot how to do that.
Right.
And see, that's how I do it. That's exactly, like I said, my mentors are all Panthers, and they give me all of so I feed people. It comes out of my pocket. They come in, they take the knowledge, they grow stronger. I feed them. I'll keep going, because I'm not going to sit here saying, when are y'all going to get it? No, I'm prepared to do this for the long haul, because it takes time.
I feel y'all. Because
it takes time. Like in behavioral health, I have people, I've been on Facebook for a minute, and I do have people that contact me for behavioral health. I don't know how many brothers and sisters that have been impacted by childhood molestation and suicidal tendencies. I actually intervene on suicides approximately 10 times a year. But I'm always there. They know they can contact me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I got 5 phones they can reach me on. But I'm dedicated to that, because our mental health is not something that was looked at. Our mental health is not something we thought about, And so I've been doing this work since 99. you know, and I'm okay with that. Yes, it's
Right.
tiring. Yes, it's
It is.
exhausting. Yes, there are some nights I get no sleep because my phones are ringing. But you know what? My people are worth it, and I'm going to be consistent. And they're worth it because of the love that I have for the people. I am deeply in love with our people. So it's fine. You know, my bills are paid, my kids are taken care of. What I have extra, I give to the people. You need food? Got it. We've got about 35 surrogate children. If they need anything, they know if I got it, they got it. And because of that, they're good. They check on me, they make sure I'm good. I make sure they've got what they need. We've got to do the reciprocity thing, but we have to be
Right.
consistent. And we can't sit
Consistent.
here and say, I've been doing this for 2 years and ain't nobody changed. Stop. Do it for another 2 years. Quit complaining,
Right.
keep it going. You know?
I
Right.
ain't mad at
So
y'all. I got to go do my
gotta do it.
homework now.
Okay.
I got a torch. I got a torch fight. I got to study for because
Go for it.
I'm trying to be the next Johnny Cochran because we need an attorney
Yes, we
that's
do.
gonna work for us because man.
Yes, we
That's
do.
the funny thing. My contracts class. The first day, teacher saying, "Hey, okay, introduce yourself. Tell us why you know what you want to do in the law." Everybody else said, "I want to do environmental. I want to do contracts. I want to do immigration. Blah blah." I'm the only one in there said, "I want to be a defense attorney," and everybody was like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, I want to be.
Hmm.
I want to be." I'm the only black one in there. I'm the only black one saying I want to be a defense attorney, and they're like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Cause I want to." I told what my contracts teacher. I said, "I want to sue the government for reparations," and he said, "Oh, well." I said,
Hmm.
"Yeah, here we go." He
Hmm.
was like, "Well, that sounds
Hmm.
like okay, good luck on that." I said, "Uh huh." I said, "Cause somebody got to
Don't
do
need
it." I mean,
luck.
hell.
Don't need no luck. It just need the smarts. Ain't no luck necessary.
And that's
Tell
the
the
whole
I
tell the
agree.
reason I'm
instructor he can
in.
keep that luck. Hmm.
Hey, well, I mean, because he said it was a black. He said, "Oh well, this sounds like good. Good luck on that. This sounds like something good." I said, "Well, somebody has to fight for us. I mean, hell,
Hmm.
what's the sense in being in the law if you ain't gonna use it to your advantage some kind of way?" So,
Yeah.
y'all have been fun. I have to go and act
Okay.
like a student now. I
Okay.
gotta,
Yeah, we
Okay.
have come to the end of our time,
but
but I must say that the conversation was well, definitely some things to take away from it and to
Yes.
build on, to work on as well. And every week we definitely want to add on to it, but eventually, as right now we're in our humble beginnings, but as we grow, I think that the vision of what it is we're trying to accomplish will become clearer because
Okay.
at the forefront, being able to work together as black man and black woman, that is our ultimate power. And when we come
Yes.
together and we are able to articulate our problems, because I don't only want to talk about our problems, I want to articulate our solutions. And
Hmm.
actually, comes to a point where we have to take those thoughts and make those actions. And I think that over time, definitely I have a 6 month goal, I have a 12-month goal, I have a 5-year goal in reference to it. And so I do think that we are going to move in the right path as long as because right now, my biggest thing now is connecting with like minds. And so I think that's the benefit that we can gain from social media is able to connect with
Hmm.
like minds. And then what we do from there, everything ain't supposed to be televised, ain't for
Right.
social media. And a
Right.
lot of people are upset or feel like we're not going anywhere because they base everything on what's happening
Right.
socially. I'm okay with that.
Hmm.
I'm okay with that because there's definitely a method to my madness anyway. So I definitely agree with that. And I just hope that as it grows and as we build on it, that we'll be able to actually actually physically come together in time. And so that's definitely where I'm headed with this, because buying towns, that's something we need to be doing in the next 12 to 18 months. Even if we just bought one and populated it and show and prove, I bet you we can get more people to do it.
Yeah, we'd have to have a nice little plan to try to get up enough money to buy at least two, because if as soon as white folks figure out, oh, them Negroes buying up these empty towns, oh no, whip time to go buy them. And then you'll see your favorite white celebrity buying up a town, and he'll say he's donating it to single mothers or some crazy shit. Just black person buys a town, and 50 families move in. The next thing, Ryan Seacrest bought 3 empty towns. You're like, wait a minute, where the hell did that idea?
And you also got to make sure that you have your own electricity and water supply, because they might get mad and turn all that off. The town doesn't have it. So
Israel is doing, Israel is doing the Palestinians.
Exactly. That's how they play.
Y'all know where to find me. I ain't going nowhere. Can't afford to.
Well, I appreciate your time. I think Keon's phone died because we lost him not that long ago.
Yeah.
But I definitely appreciate your time. And I will definitely be in touch.
Definitely.
I think this has been a good discussion for, the playback will be very well. I think that everybody was able to articulate, from all sides where we are, where we, the reality is that we haven't lost much. So we just really have to get back in touch with each other.
True.
One step at a time. Like you said, you can't move a mountain. You move it one rock at a time. And so I think that's where we are right now, is doing that. But I do think that the mountain can be moved. And
absolutely.
And I'm at peace with doing that until the day that I die. So
all right now.
I'm here for it. So I appreciate you. All right. And thank you so much. Peace, love.
Yes, ma'am.
Black Power family.
Peace and love. Black Power.